Oh, good morning, everyone. This is my very first time ever trying OBS on YouTube using an RMTP. I am still waking up. I just sneezed. I am so sorry. Good morning, Miss Bella Italia. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. There, that's my song. Okay, so yesterday, for those of you who are new to watching the Gareth Pursehouse trial, in the description box underneath this video, kind of lays out the timeline of events. This beautiful woman here, Dr. Amie Harwick, was, in my opinion, brutally murdered by this guy up here. Notice the difference in appearance for Mr. Pursehouse from here to his courtroom appearance. The judge has ordered that the footage for this trial is not to be released live to the public. Rather, it's supposed to be released the morning after the day of testimony. So this is day 10 testimony, which was Wednesday, released yesterday. It's supposed to be released at like around 8 o'clock, 8:30-ish in the morning, at the very latest 9 o'clock in the morning my time, which is 10 o'clock Eastern time. And I waited until like 10:30 yesterday, and it still wasn't uploaded. So I scheduled something else. I scheduled the Carey Lake trial only on my Rumble channel. And, that lasted pretty much most of the day. And lo and behold, as soon as I changed my mind, this popped up. So I thought, you know what? This is only an hour and 50 minutes. We can sneak it in quick this morning. And then by the time we're done with this day 10, we should have day 11, which was yesterday's testimony. It's my understanding the prosecution is supposed to be resting fairly soon. It's also my understanding that what is going to start this day of testimony is going to be after kind of a kerfuffle with the defense objecting strongly to the judge that the video we saw Wednesday, which was Tuesday. I know this is massively confusing. The jailhouse video of him talking to his two homies was damaging enough that he asked for a mistrial. So anyway, here we go. I talked long enough, it even switched over. I'll be on camera shortly. I'm getting ready. Although I was kind of thinking with these early morning ones, I don't know if you watch any makeup people, like there's like, oh my God, my favorite makeup lady. Well, she's actually a hair lady. Her name is Brittany Alexis.
We are winding down, at least the prosecution is winding down their case, and so we're winding down the trial overall in the next day or so. We do have Detective Carranza back on the stand. People versus Pursehouse. Alternate number, the Italian trip, number 2? Yes. I understand you want to take up the court's offer and be dismissed at this point. Is that correct? All right. And, I could have had my bailiff dismiss you outside, but I personally want to bring you in just to thank you for your sacrifice to be here in your service. All of you, I should thank all of you. But since you're leaving today, we're all very thankful to the attorneys and the court. Thank you for your service, and I hope you have a nice and safe trip to Italy. All right?
Yeah,
thank you very much.
One of the jurors was wondering how long this was going to go on.
Yes. You really mean that? Do you really?
And
thank you, ma'am.
I'm watching the...
At Amazon Freight,
YouTube
we know the only thing better than having a friend with a truck is...
Okay, I can't control the quality. It says auto. So I'm not sure what they're streaming in, but I did bump it up.
Should we say goodbye in Italian, Your Honor?
Ciao, right? Ciao.
Ciao. Hey, Nicole Bella, if you're
Mr.
still
Avila.
listening.
Yes, you're what's the next?
You are. Next one's
Ciao,
133.
Right, and I'll go back to playing the.
We have a restaurant here called Ciao Bella.
133 is a series of text messages, pages 8 to 8.
I'll slow it back down.
Detective Carranza looking at one. The cell bride reports
I literally
related to
woke up like
conversations
45
between
minutes
Gareth
ago, took a shower,
and Dr. Amie
poured some big
Harwick's
coffee.
phone,
Okay,
correct?
I'll be quiet, I
Yes.
promise.
Now, you had Dr. Harwick's phone. Were you able to see if she kept those actual text messages in her phone?
The messages are on the cell write, which means they're in the phone. Because the cell write's a download of her actual physical cell phone.
Or were there actual text messages on her phone?
Yes.
Okay, looking here at People's 133A, is this a copy of those text messages from her actual phone?
Yes.
And so I'm not going to go through all of them, but for example, on the left side in gray, that would be text messages represented by Gareth. I interneted your number, recognize it now that I see it, if I'm allowed to text, and so on.
Yes.
And I'm just going to go through these pages quickly. 1B is also a representation of those text messages we already went through with the jury from People's Exhibit number 131. C, is that the same thing?
Yes.
And the middle one here, is this the one where at the end she ends it with, and move forward with our lives?
With our own lives, yes.
Yes, thank you. And page D, that's also a physical text message that's also represented in the Cellbrite report. E, same thing.
Yes.
And F is also a same. Oh, actually, F is a repetition. Let me see. Oh, you know what F is? Is a clear of 133A. So F is just a clear copy of 133A.
Okay, that little hitch in the video might be that one.
A.
Yes.
That's annoying.
And so is H. It's a clear copy of a previous page we identified where the text was, and move forward with our own lives.
Yes.
Maybe it's gone. I switched it back
On
to
her
auto.
cell phone, were you able to also extract any Nest camera videos?
Yes, we were able to.
Okay, about how many Nest camera videos were on her actual cell phone?
About 75 Nest video clips. Some are 2 seconds in duration, which were like motion activated. And there was a couple that were a little bit longer, maybe a minute. There were some females that were in her residence walking around talking about the decorations.
And looking at all the Nest video, what was the time of the last Nest video on her cell phone?
The last recorded Nest clip that I found in the cell write was on February 14th, 2020 at 6:41 p.m. And it was a motion activation by a spider web that happened to be in front of the Nest camera, which is inside her living room area.
So there are no Nest videos.
Calling for speculation that it's a spider web that triggered.
Okay, there was you could see a spider web in front of the camera, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
You can't say whether indeed it triggered it. You're suspecting it did, right?
Well, I believe it triggered it, Your Honor.
Okay,
I
yeah.
reviewed, there's actually several clips from that same spider web that activate the camera. if you
Well,
watch it.
Well, perhaps, but you can't say conclusively that it did. It appears to be.
Your
It
Honor,
appears to be, yes, Your
Yeah,
Honor.
okay.
I have a DVD with
Motion
that
to strike, Your Honor.
Hold on.
with that particular video clip.
We've seen it. I've seen the spider web on
But
front.
this is that was from, I believe, a different occasion. This is the last video clip from the Dr. Amie Harwick's actual cell phone.
Okay, and it may well be that a spider web appears, or a spider, or what have you. We can't conclusively state that it.
No.
That's the objection. It's and I will strike it. Go ahead.
Right. The video is what it is, so
Yeah,
I'm just going to
sure.
play it.
Go ahead.
Let me pause for a moment to say how the YouTube videos, like the commercials, they used to be tolerable. Now they're during live streams even, and they're all the time. Why don't they just have like one big giant video in the beginning? They want us all to pay for their like premium freaking plan. Okay, there. Now I've ranted. Now you've seen my angry side.
play one more time. How long is the video clip?
It's about 2 seconds. The short motion activated.
Good
clip is
morning,
about 2
Cindy.
seconds.
Happy Friday.
Okay, and what's shown on this People's 134, is that what you were
It
describing?
is so
Yes.
sad.
And is this the last Nest camera video on Dr. Amie Harwick's cell phone?
Yes, it is.
And this was on Valentine's Day at 6:41 p.m.
Yes, that's correct.
I'm sorry?
Did you mark that as 134?
134?
Is that what it was?
Yes.
Okay, yes.
So there are no Nest camera video clips after that one?
No.
No. And did you also, on her cell phone, did you find any voicemail messages from defendant Gareth Pursehouse?
Yes.
You want to have a CD that we already marked as People's 132. I have a transcript,
All right.
132A. May I publish the one-page transcript to the jury?
Yep.
I have so much I need to say.
Okay, I don't think everyone had one yet.
Sorry, Your Honor.
It's a,
I missed it.
okay, I think everyone has one now.
I think everyone does. So is this video, is this audio clip dated January 18, 2020 at about 16:26?
Yes.
Well, actually, what was the time? Do you know what the time was for this recording?
No, I can't recall the time recording this made on her film.
We have just one moment.
Yes.
Well, let me play the recording and then we'll address that. But it's January 18, 2020.
That's correct.
I have so much I need to say. Please give me a chance to discuss it. Going to the good. Please.
So these are the video or the voicemails he left.
Is that call at about 4:26 p.m.?
I was, oh shoot, they don't have
Is that
closed
the
caption
extended?
available. I'm
Yes.
sorry.
Do you see any more text messages on Amy's phone from defendant Gareth Pursehouse?
No.
Do you see any voicemail messages that he's able to leave after that voicemail message?
No.
Now, you also obtained the defendant's phone after he was arrested on February 15, 2020.
Yes.
And was that booked into evidence as property item number 54 for this case, 2006-06-220?
Yes, it was.
Looking here at two photographs, but it's marked People's next in order. People's number 135,
Yes.
A and B.
Yes.
Looking at People's 135, can you tell?
It's an evidence envelope with the Mr. Pursehouse's cell phone next to it. As you can see by the envelope, it has my name and the reporting booking property and cell phone item number 54, the case number we've been talking about in disability in this case.
Looking at 135B, what is shown here?
That's the rear of the cell phone, the same evidence envelope.
And early on, were you able to do a download of the data from that cell phone?
Yes, a download was done on that phone.
Okay. And were you able to download the data on or about March 20th, 2020, and make copies so both the people in the defense could have a copy of that data?
Yes.
And were you able to look at the data on that phone?
Yes, I was.
And did you use the same process, the Celebrite, where you download Celebrite report is generated?
Yes.
Looking here at People's next in order, it's a photograph showing what a Cellbrite options are. A screenshot of a Cellbrite reader. Did you see my People's next in order?
136.
136. By the way, how familiar are you with the Cellbrite program?
My name is Beatrice Corona, and I love being a CNA.
My name is Rashad Wallace, and I love being a DSP.
Again, like every 5 minutes.
Very familiar having.
Look at 20 minutes. They've had 3 of them on. Come on.
In the last few years of being made aware of this technology and other cases that I've used, very familiar with using this format. Very, very user friendly, and it makes things a lot simpler when dealing with a cell phone download.
Can you tell us, looking at this exhibit, what is shown here on, see, the left part?
So the left part, if I use a pointer,
Yes.
the left part will have the categories of the download. As you go down the download, you'll see what's on the physical phone. Like for instance here, applications 3, audio, there's 2,765 audio files, and that corresponds to the number of the item, like 6 documents. There's over 10,000 images on this download from the cell phone, 1,222 text documents, and 5 videos. So this makes it easier for the user to
I'm sorry, can you go back to where you were saying the
Sorry about
videos?
that.
No, that's okay, the numbers are just busy.
Yeah, 5.
Yeah,
5
thank
videos.
you. Yeah.
This makes it easier for us to go into different categories of the Cellbrite to view what we're looking at. And it even has a timeline on here also that has 181, it captured 181 timeline events. And this is the format of the Cellbrite. And it has the extraction date and time. And
See?
and also over here, it's the same thing as the right panel. We have the same numbers, and pretty much we will click on that item, and then it'll open up. For instance, if I click on the image folder here, it'll open up the image in the thumbnail view, so I can go through each image to see what they are. The same thing for the audio files or documents or video files, which are only 5 on this phone.
Right. And now where it says text, what does that mean?
That's a text document. It's when I opened that up, it was encoded text files. It's not like a text message, but a document that was created on this phone or saved to this phone, and it's encoded with different numbers.
Were you able to find any text messages on this phone?
Objection, lack of foundation.
Oh.
You can answer.
No text messages were saved on this phone.
How about contacts?
No contact list was saved on this phone.
How about call logs?
No call log, and a call log is simply a phone calls you made while using the phone, and it'll have date on this Cellbrite.
And looking at people 68, a text message from that was a text message chain between text messages.
No.
There's like hitches in the video.
Looking at people's exhibit number 58.
See? The ticker seat keeps going, but then like it
Holston.
hitches. I have
Did you
no
find any of
control.
those
I'm
texts?
so sorry. It's really annoying. See, it's
All right.
the video
We've heard,
keeps ticking, but
discussion
then
about the
there's
urine
like
swab,
freezes.
property item number 34, correct?
How about we
Yes.
bumped up the speed? We gotta get caught up.
At
in
some
that.
point, were you requested to have that?
So it's not the audio. It's not the quality.
Was that done sometime? And on June 29th,
Their
2023,
video.
did you take, and where did you take
Oh,
it to?
help me, Rhonda.
Within LEPD, we have various different from that location over to the Hertzberg Davis Forensic Science Center, which is a
Do they not like look at their video before they send it out?
Sheriff's Department is going to test.
비밀이
Oh.
하나 있는데
And here's the
사실
commercial again.
거짓말이 들려.
How am I supposed to get my hot rollers put in my hair?
And then did they communicate the results to you?
Yes.
And the DNA results, were those also communicated to you after you requested DNA
Try
analysis?
again.
There was no DNA requested on the urine swab.
No, 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 I'm talking about the other swabs.
Yes.
Okay.
By LEPD, not the sheriff's office.
Yes, thank you. Lastly, I have a map showing two locations, 2086 Mount Street and 8148 Cabora Street. We just see my people's next in order.
137.
137. Does this map show the general location, or the approximate location of 2086 Mount Street at the very top right corner?
Yes.
And that's in Hollywood Hills, correct?
Yes.
And the approximate location of 8148 Cabora Street, defendant Purshouse's residence back on February 15, 2020.
Cabora Drive.
Cabora Drive, I'm sorry. Actually, let me just... There's a paralegal that's going to be fired. Okay. Drive, I'm kidding.
That was rude. Did you hear him? He
Yes,
said there's a
between
paralegal that's going to
those
get
two
fired.
locations.
About 16 miles.
Sorry, Crime Spice just does not have patience.
I'm nothing further.
Cross-examination.
Thank you.
Trying to fix the windows here. Hold on.
Good afternoon, Detective.
Good afternoon.
So, talking about the Cellbrite exhibit here. Looking at this, do you know what type of extraction was done on the cell phone to get this extraction summary?
The tech extraction?
Yes.
No, I don't know the tech extraction used by our forensic people.
So
I just know that what happens is...
I know, I'm just asking if you know the type of extraction.
No, I don't.
Okay, and do you know who did the extraction on this phone?
It was, I believe, Orange County Regional Crime Lab. I believe did the extraction of Mr. Purshouse's phone.
And what is that crime lab?
The Orange County Crime Lab is a crime lab that's run by the FBI that has local jurisdictions within Orange County, like San Diego Police Department, Irvine Lab, and their job is to and other items that we take to them.
So do you often take cell phones to them?
I have now, as of the past 2 years. I started using them strictly.
Okay, and so when did you take item 54, the cell phone that came from Gareth Pursehouse? When did you take that one to the Orange County Regional Crime Lab?
I signed the phone out of my property and I told him to take that burden to take down there. And he took that in November of 2021. He took that cell phone down there for an extraction by Orange County Crime Lab.
And you also took Amie Harwick's phone. That's item...
You know what? I need to correct myself. I'm sorry, ma'am. You asked me about Mr. Pursehouse's phone?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was done back in 2020. Okay.
Could you look at your chrono if you need to refresh your recollection as to the exact date?
Sure.
Do you have that with you?
Yeah, I had to grab my giant binder there. I'll grab it. With the court's permission.
Yes.
I got it. Sorry, I got 3 giant binders with thousands of pages.
I can relate.
Let me review my book, Your Honor, to take the exact date with your permission.
Your Honor, can you refresh?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Transgender. It's made very, very cool through the media.
Again, sorry with the commercials. I really need to put my hot rollers in my hair. Maybe I'll just Scooby-Doo over in there in my bathroom and do it right quick here. So I can be on camera and chatting with you in person.
The report itself, my report was generated on February 18th, I believe, from my recollection.
So
It's actually, when you look at the cell right now, it has a date that the report was created by the different right on the exhibit that was right on.
okay, so you're talking about this date here.
Yes.
Do you want to point to your pointer?
Yes. If you just stay right here with this was created, this cell right from the extraction. They're all files that are downloaded from the phone, are put into the cell right and creates this report. And that report was created on February 18, 2020.
Okay, so the phone then would have had to go to this Orange County Forensic Lab prior to that date in order to get the report you just pointed to, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then Amie Harwick's phone, did that also go to the same lab?
No, it did not.
Which lab did that phone go to?
That phone went to Officer Scott Tubert, who was who works on cell phones down in Stalker on site. And that was taken on February 27th, I believe.
February 27th?
2020.
2020. And were they able to do an extraction at that time?
No, they're not.
At some point, did you take Amie Harwick's phone to the Orange County lab for extraction?
Yes, I did. Or actually, they took it on birthday for me.
Okay, and do you know when that was?
That was in November 2021.
Would that be November 16th, 2021?
That's correct, yes.
And that was after the preliminary hearing in this case?
Yes.
And that was after you presented your case for filing to the district attorney's office?
Yes.
When did you receive a partial download from Amie Harwick's cell phone?
The partial download consisted of 144 gigabytes. We received in February of 2022.
Would that be February 10th, 2022?
Yes, ma'am. And the partial is just not a complete download, just a partial.
So that was about 3 months after the phone was submitted to this Orange County lab, you received a partial download?
Yes.
Okay, and then you received a complete download after they were able to 2022?
Yes, in December we picked up the phone and the raw files that were downloaded from the cell phone from North.
Acquired the full download in December of 2022?
Yes, ma'am.
When you were doing your Cellbrite reports, did you do a report on web history for Amie Harwick's phone?
I don't recall if I did or not.
It would refresh your recollection to look at a report?
Sure, definitely.
Mayor Pro Chairman?
Yes, of course.
Oh, yes. Yes, yes.
And this web history shows searches for Gareth Pursehouse by Amie Harwick, is that correct?
Yes.
And did you note that there was a search for Gareth Pursehouse made on October 26, 2019?
I have to review that.
Mayor Coach?
Yes.
Yes.
So there is, in Amie Harwick's phone, there was a web history showing she searched for Gareth Pursehouse, Google search, on October 26, 2019.
Yes.
I'd like to talk about some photos that you took along with Detective Masterson at 2086 Mound Street. I have 2 photos. May they be marked offense next in order, Your Honor?
E cubed and E cubed A and what?
B.
B. Okay.
Thank you. Showing you what's been marked as E cubed A. Do you recognize this photo?
Yes.
And does it show a measurement, a tape measure going along the railing, the bottom of the railing on the edge of the balcony located at 2086 Mound Street?
Yes.
And what side of the balcony is this photo taken on?
I would describe it as the north side of the property, the side away from 2080 Mound.
Okay. And that doormat that you can see in the photograph, would that be the doormat outside the door that leads to Michael Herman's living area?
Yes.
And showing you triple EB. Is this another photograph showing the opposite corner? I guess it would be the south corner of the same balcony?
Yes.
And Ms. Mercy, if I misspoke, it should be E cubed 1 and 2 as opposed to A and B again. Okay.
I think I misspoke.
Okay.
I have another photograph I'd like to mark. Triple F.
All right.
I'm showing you, it's been marked offense triple F. Do you recognize the balcony and that tree as an accurate representation of the location on February 15th, 2020?
Yes.
Have you been back to that property? Did you go with Mr. Mendoza when he did the drone footage?
Yes, I was outside of Mom Street just waiting for him. That was my vehicle on the street waiting.
All right.
I didn't actually go onto the property.
Okay.
It's everything you wished for. Your site traffic is skyrocketing. Until this happened.
And finally,
I'm trying to read that. My contacts are dirty. Who are you? That's my opinion. I think it keeps stopping because you have the speed accelerated. Would you please have it at normal speed? No, it does the same thing, but yes, I will go ahead and
1 through 7,
leave it at normal.
right? We're numbers.
okay.
Yeah. So that's why I misspoke.
Okay.
because-
Okay. I'm
Yeah.
getting mixed up.
Yeah.
The whole reason we accelerated it was to try to get rid of the little hitch.
You had an opportunity
I appreciate you for being
interview
here.
Michael Herman
And it is now at
photographs of
normal
injuries
speed.
He received on the date of February 15th, 2020.
Sorry, I
Is
was
that
putting my
correct?
hot rollers
Yes,
in
our
here.
photographer took our TID division took photographs at Hollywood Station.
And you were present for that?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm showing you triple B1. Is this a photograph of Michael Herman's right hand?
Yes.
And I'd like to do triple B2.
Now, for those of you who are new, Michael Herman is the roommate.
Triple G,
G.
whatever.
Okay.
The roommate that heard
Yes.
her
And
screaming.
then is this photo
And then ran for
depicting
help.
a injury? On his wrist.
Pink scratch. That's what I see there.
Number 3. See, I'm going to zoom out the perspective. Is this another injury on his arm? Third injury?
Yeah, here's a scratch going across the forearm.
Showing you triple G4. Is documenting another injury on his arm?
Yes.
Triple G5. This is another injury to the back of Mr. Herman's arm.
Yes.
Triple G6. This is an injury showing, I guess they're focusing on the injury with the ruler underneath it. It's kind of a 7-shaped injury.
Yeah, there's two of them right there. The same.
Yeah. And then there's one to the side.
Yes.
Triple G7. This will be the last one.
Right.
So if I said 8, I was mistaken. And there's a smaller injury
Yes.
depicted here.
Yes.
Thank you. I have one last photograph, Your Honor.
Right. Triple
This
H?
is Triple H.
Yes.
Showing what's been marked as defense Triple H. Is this 2086 Mount Street on February 15th, 2020?
Yes, it is.
And this van, do you know what department that's from?
That's the van belonging to our criminals.
And do the criminals use brown paper bags to collect evidence?
Excuse me, I didn't hear what you said.
Do your criminals use brown paper bags to collect evidence?
Among state other things, yes.
And does it appear one of the bags is located
The volume
here?
does change depending on who's speaking, so I'll try that. Can I see on top of that?
That's just a bag. I can't, from this view, I can't tell.
Also, if you're interested, there's a link for the Zillow listing.
That's just a bag there. I don't know what it is.
Okay, so, but you do see the criminal stand?
Yes.
And they're the ones who collect the evidence?
Closed caption
In this
is not
case,
available.
yes.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Any redirect?
Here's why most coaches don't have a work-life balance. If you're spending tons of time creating freebies,
Why were you not able to extract data from Dr. Harwick's phone right away?
Dr. Harwick had a password on her cell phone, which was an iPhone 8 Plus, and we didn't have the access password to get into it.
So what did you have to do to get into that phone that was password protected?
When I resubmitted the phone, November 2021, the forensic lab had to attach a break key program to pretty much locate the passcode and break the phone open.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Anything based on that question?
Just briefly.
See, the hitch is back now, even at normal speed.
And you waited until November 16th, 2021 to ask for the phone to be forcibly extracted. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Further.
Anything?
I was just asked to reopen on another
Go ahead.
subject.
I object.
Objection is noted.
In her cell phone, could you also look into her Gmail account?
Yes.
And in her Gmail account, were you able to find an email she had written to herself?
Yes.
And looking here at a 2-page exhibit, it's Gmail. May this mark as People's 138?
Yes.
138. I'm not going to go through the email with you, but do you recognize this?
Yes, I do.
And looking at page 2, is that without the redact? Obviously, this has been redacted, but are these 2 pages with a Gmail with the letter GP as a title, date of Friday, January 17, 2020 at 3:09 a.m. Email of Amie Nicole 13@gmail.com. We're able to find that in the Celebrite download under her Gmail account.
Yes.
And did it have the same date as January 17, 2020?
Yes.
I have nothing further.
Anything based on that?
No.
All right, you may step down.
Thank you, Your Honor.
People?
People call Robert Koshland to the stand.
All right.
Word of warning, I'm going to fast forward a moment here. Normally I do like to play these in 1.2 times speed.
All right, go.
Robert Koshland, Robert.
Oh my God, this is the guy that's in all of the documentary series. He was her best friend. This is going to make Crime Spies cry. Also, in the description box underneath the video, I'll show you when his testimony is finished. We're still doing good on time. There's a link underneath in the description box. Like, I think after like the summary is told, there's a link to her Zillow for the house if you want to look at it. Such a beautiful house. This just breaks my heart. But then underneath that is the link to where you can donate. This man here is was trying, because she's buried back in Pennsylvania, but she lived predominantly her adult life in California. He's trying to, they have like a 3D drawing or something of like a bronze statue with her cat, who he has. he got her cat after she died, and it's still alive. Last video he set, or last video I had seen, he got her cat. But this crime happened on the early morning hours of February 15th, 2020, and they had started a fund because she was buried in Pennsylvania. They had started a fund to build this bronze statue somewhere out in California where her friends could come and remember her and mourn. But then the Rona hit, and then the fundraising kind of went by the wayside. So he's trying to revive that fundraising effort, and the link is in the description box below. Oh my God, this is gonna be. I was wondering when he was going to testify. I'm almost done here, people. I got my.
P-O-S-H-L.
Please state and spell both your first and last name.
Robert Koshland. R-O-B-E-R-T. C-O-S-H-L-A-N-D.
Right, go.
Looking at photograph 10G. Do you recognize who's depicted on that photograph?
Yes, I do.
And who is that?
That is Amie Harwick.
And what was Amie Harwick to you back in 2020?
Amie was my best friend.
When you say your best friend, how long had you known her?
I met her in 2012 and we became friends in 2015.
And when you say she was your best friend, what does that mean?
I talked to her every day. I pretty much told her everything. We texted every day. And I saw her often once a week, sometimes as many as 4 times a week.
Was she someone important in your life?
Very much so.
Obviously, you know about her death on February 15th, 2020.
Yes.
When was the last time you saw her before that date?
I saw her several days before. I believe it was Tuesday, whatever the date that was. We went to the movies.
Did you have a conversation with her on January 17th, 2020?
I had a conversation with her most days, so.
Around January 17th, 2020, did she discuss an event that had occurred to her the day before?
Yes.
What did she tell you in that regard?
She called me and told me that she had run into Gareth, and she was very concerned about the interaction. She told me that she saw him and he came over to her and was yelling at her and reciting texts from like 8 years ago. And
narrative, and also, of course, prior ruling regarding leaving the photo up on the Alamo during the
Okay, go ahead. Take that down. Sure.
You were saying that she was telling you what happened to her at this event on January 16, 2020, including that Gareth Pursehouse was reciting old text messages to her?
yes, and she told me that he hadn't moved on with his life and seemed to be very obsessed with her still, and that she was very worried about that interaction.
Did she indicate to you whether she was scared of Gareth Pursehouse?
Yes.
What did she tell you in that regard?
She said to me that if anything happens to me, it would be Gareth that did it.
And have you previously testified to that statement?
How dare they interrupt Robert Koshland's testimony?
And after telling you that, did she try to take some kind of action so you would know where she would be at different points in time?
I suggested perhaps we share locations so I could see where she was at any given time, and she agreed, so we used the Find My Phone feature on iPhones.
And were you then able to track her phone wherever she moved?
Yes, it took a couple hours for us to figure out how it worked, but afterwards, yes.
Well, why did it take a couple hours to figure that out?
Objection foundation.
Oh, you can answer.
I hadn't used it before, and she hadn't used it before, so I don't know what, technically.
And is this happening on or about January 17th or 2020, or a few days after January 17th, 2020?
We had it sorted out in the afternoon of the 17th.
Did you and her discuss anything else as far as security at her home?
Yes, I suggested she buy a gun, and we talked about video cameras and a security alarm system.
Okay, what did she, as far as the suggestion to get a gun, how did she respond to that?
She said maybe, but...
She objected. Okay.
You said what?
She said maybe.
And you also suggested what else to her?
Getting a security system and cameras.
And do you know if she did that?
Yes, she did.
How do you know that?
Because we talked about it, and I referred an installer, and she bought the systems I saw.
Okay. Did she buy the Nest camera system?
Correct, that's what I had.
Were you the one that installed the system for her?
No.
Did you set the settings for her Nest camera app for her?
I did not.
When did you hear about the passing of Dr. Amie Harwick?
Oh, good answer.
After I had gone to interview with Detectives Masterson and Carranza, they left the room for a bit, and they came back, and then they informed me. So it was the morning of the 15th. I don't know what time.
Would this be February 15, 2020 at around, well, was your interview with them on February 15, 2020 at the Hollywood station around 10 in the morning?
It was thereabouts.
And so they stepped out of the room, and what happened?
Well, after the interview, they stepped out for a few moments, and then, or minutes, and then came back and informed me.
What was your reaction to that?
Objection relevant.
Sustained.
Did you tell them during that interview on who to focus on?
I did.
Relevant. And hearsay.
Overruled. You can answer.
You can answer that.
I did.
Who did you tell them that they should focus on?
Objection hearsay relevant.
Overruled. You told this to the police officers?
Yes.
Okay. Good answer.
Yes, I told them that they should focus on Gareth. I did not know his last name at the time.
And why did you tell them that?
Because of the conversations that she and I had had previously.
After Dr. Amie Harwick's passing, did you and your friends get together that day or a day after that?
Yes, that day and the next day.
And what was the purpose of getting together with friends of Amie Harwick?
To basically grieve together. The first day, I talked to a number of people, but we had to keep it from becoming public because her parents had not been informed yet, and we were waiting to hear that that had happened. So I just had people come over my house.
Did anyone say that you and Amy's friends were meeting to make sure how Amy's story would be told?
We talked about it, I think, on the second day.
What was the purpose of that?
Our concern was that she would be portrayed as just Drew Carey's fiancée, as opposed to the kind of super amazing person that she was. And we wanted to make sure that people knew how kind of interesting and cool she was.
On February 16, 2020, was there an interview with Sarah Rollins? Were you present for an interview with Sarah Rollins?
I was.
And why were you present during that interview?
Sarah was concerned about going to the police station by herself. She was at my house at the time when the request came in to interview her, so I went along.
Did you tell her what you should tell the detectives?
No.
Have you told did you ever talk to Michael Herman and tell him what to tell the detectives?
I've never told anyone specifically to tell anyone anything. But I've told people to talk to detectives if they know something.
Now, sometime later, did the detectives give you some journals or diaries from Amie Harwick?
Yes, day planners.
And did you do anything with those day planners?
Yes, I looked through them.
And did you find anything of interest in those day planners?
Yes. Most, if not all of them, had all of her passwords in the back, which I told her never to do. But
So you found some of her passwords?
yeah,
Did you find the password for her Gmail account?
I did.
And did you use that password to do anything?
Yes, I used it to look in her Gmail.
So how did you do that?
I just logged into Gmail with her password and username.
So you already knew her Gmail account, her email account.
I mean, that was the email that she and I responded to. She had two, so
And is that amynicole13@gmail.com?
I looked in that one and also her other one, which is Dr. Amie Harwick.
And did you do this around March 9th, 2020?
Thereabouts.
And around that time, did you go into her Gmail account, amynicole13@gmail.com?
I did.
And did you find anything?
Yes, I found an email that she had written to herself regarding the incident at the expo sports.
And did you read the email?
I did.
And did you later provide it to detectives?
Yes, I did.
We can hear at People's 138. I'm going to read this to you, see if this is the email. Is this what you read on the email? Tonight I feel very, and this is dated January 17, 2020 at 3:09 a.m.
Yes.
Tonight I felt very scared. I went to the award show with Fernando. When we arrived, we waited in a very long line to do the red carpet. We were waiting. I saw Gareth walk by with a camera. Clearly he was working. I decided to ignore him and just not looking that direction. I thought maybe he would not notice me. Fernando went to the bar to get a drink, and I was waiting with his friend in line. Gareth came up behind me and started screaming, "Why are you here? Why are you here?" He looked dysregulated, and his eyes looked out of control. He started screaming, "You don't even like porn. You shouldn't be here. Why are you here?" And then he started looking like he was going to cry, and he was breathing heavily and flailing his arms around.
My life is essentially being on tour. How do I have tools that can leverage myself where there can be more of me?
I didn't want to make a scene or scare anybody else. So I said, "Hey, do you need to talk?" And we walked over to the side. We sat close by the bathrooms. I made sure to look and make sure there were both security people and a lot of attendees very close by. He was sobbing. His head was in his hands. He was hyperventilating. He was distorting his face up and shaking violently. I was scared and felt like I needed to neutralize the situation. I don't think he was going to attack me in that moment, but this clearly showed me how obsessed he was. He told me that he thinks about me every day, and every day he cries. He told me he lost his job when he broke up because he couldn't work. He told me that no matter what he did, he couldn't stop obsessing over me. He told me that I was a cheater and a liar because he thought we were still together when I believed that we were broken up. He recited text messages that I had sent from this time frame about 9 years ago. He recited the date, who they were to, and exactly what was said word for word. I couldn't believe it. I was very scared. He said he wasn't able to move on, but he's dated, but nobody with me. He said he thinks about me constantly, and he can't watch the TV shows that we watch together. Here are the songs that we like, are the names that we call each other, or even smell vanilla, or he has a panic attacks. I sat with him for about 20 minutes or so. In my mind, I wanted to neutralize the situation. I thought maybe if I could make him see me as a neutral person, that maybe these things would stop. He told me that Kira. Sorry.
I'm going to object to 352.
Okay, the court's going to grant it. That is the text that you saw.
That is the email I saw.
Okay, very good.
Well, in the email, well, I would ask permission.
Just pause for a moment. So the judge ruled in favor of the defense's objection. I'm actually kind of surprised they let it go on for as long as they did because it's really damning. But then again, it also goes to motive. So I'm not sure why the prosecution didn't just say, well, here's the reason why I think the rest of it should be read, Judge. I don't know. That's my thought.
Finish reading the email since it's in evidence.
No, but it's already in evidence that she, it's no secret, she wrote a purportedly worded email to herself.
Throughout the rest of the email, does she indicate that she's scared?
Yes.
And does she indicate that she's scared of Gareth Pursehouse?
Yes, she does.
Does she state that I'm pretty nervous that I'm now more on his radar now?
Yes.
Objection. Same objection.
Ooh, you can ask it that way.
Does she state that it terrifies me that he's been obsessed with me for 9 years, thinks about me every day and can't move on, cries and throws tantrums in this way?
Yes.
So she described his conduct as tantrums on her email.
Okay, it's 12 o'clock at this point, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and take lunch, if you would. The attorneys and the court met earlier this morning to iron out some things, all right? So have a good lunch. We'll see you back here.
Okay, so again, we are watching the testimony of, well, actually, this is a good time to pause. Let's see if I can manage this. Probably not. Okay, I'll do it at the end. So what we are watching is Day 10 testimony, California versus Gareth Pursehouse. If you look in the description box underneath this video, and I apologize, I started this live stream early because I wanted to fit it in before Day 11 testimony was released. And by doing so, I didn't get ready because I had woken up like 20 minutes before. So I'm still in the process. Although, you know, maybe we could do a get ready with me. What do they call those? GRWM and crime in the morning? I don't know. I don't care. Some of my favorite people to watch in the morning are YouTubers that do the get ready with me. So anyway, if you read the description box underneath the video, there's some links. There's a link to my Rumble channel where I posted like a 3.5 minute video kind of summarizing the prosecution's opening statements. Throughout these 10 days, that's actually proved pretty dead on. So I mean, I don't see anything that they said in the beginning that hasn't been, you know, kind of gone down that path. Then there's like a 5.5 minute separate video on defense opening statement. Now, if you don't like the cursey words, don't listen to that one because I took some liberties there. And again, this testimony here, Robert Koshland, I thought he was a doctor too. He is her best friend. Oh, another link underneath the description box here is to my Rumble channel also from about 1 year ago. It's the 48 Hours episode with Erin Moriarty where she discusses the death of Dr. Amie Harwick, and she also interviews Drew Carey for that was his first interview in September 2022. So about 2.5 years after this happened. Drew and Amie were engaged to be married. They did break off their engagement, but just shortly, like 2 days before this horrifying murder happened, she was reaching out to him to connect with him. It just, you'll see in the 2 short videos I have on my Rumble channel. I've been meaning to move them over here, just haven't. You'll see, it's just, this is one of those crimes. This is a crime like the Ryan Potter, was it Ryan Poston, who was killed by Shayna Huber in, I think it was Kentucky, a few years ago. Super handsome, successful attorney, dated her. She, couldn't get over it. He was trying to move on, and she shot him right in the friggin' face. She's the one that said, I gave him the nose job he always wanted. There's just so many that are just completely senseless. So, okay, I'm done talking now. All right, I might bump it up. I know that's my opinion. Didn't want it too fast, but usually Crime Spies does it in 1.25 speed. I apologize. I had it at 1.5 times speed before I put my curlers in my hair. But 1.25 speed is, I'm gonna try that because it does kind of take some of the it moves it along at a little faster pace, and I don't want to get too far behind on we only have 45 minutes left. I don't want to get too far behind on the day 11. Just watch now. I'll rush through this, and then day 11 will be delayed like this one was.
Consulin, this is your last witness, isn't it?
Just one more.
Brief?
Okay, so I don't know if you heard that, but Robert Koshland, so her best friend, I'll summarize this at the end. I guess I felt this is important. They had said that the prosecution was going to rest earlier this week. This testimony is from Wednesday. There's Robert Koshland, and then there's a woman right after this. I'm not sure if her testimony is finished on day 10 or if her testimony is day 11, which is the video that's going to drop here soon. And then the defense will put on their case. I have not heard how many people the defense plans on calling for witnesses. But again, if you look at that short 5-minute video, the link underneath the video here, if you look at that 5-minute one, you'll see where they're coming from. Versus me summarizing, basically saying he said it was an accident, the nicotine was for him, yada yada. She fell, like she went out of the balcony and fell, but on her own. So it's just a horrible accident. No, it's not. She wouldn't have gone out on the balcony, and even if she did climb up on the railing, Mr. Pursehouse, that was your doing. You're the one that forced her to have no other options, if that were true, which I don't believe it was true. Okay, there. Now you've seen me angry. All right, continue.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead and finish him off if you would. Okay, thank you.
All right, Mr. Consulin, do you know what username Ms. Harwick would use on her phone?
On her phone?
Yes.
Do you know?
It always said Amie Harwick.
On your phone, it would say that?
Yes.
Right. But you don't know when she...
I object to this exhibit being posted and shown to the jury without making a record.
No, that's fine. You can ask him if he's familiar with it.
He hasn't asked a question.
Well, yeah, I'm sure he's going to. Are you? You can ask it?
I'm going to ask it.
Okay, go ahead.
You have not had access to her phone to see how she set up her phone.
No.
So you don't know when someone identifies their phone, they write a name there. You don't know what name she used.
No.
All right, you can take it down if you would.
And the name Cat Dukes. Have you ever heard that name before?
Yes.
When have you heard that before?
Cat Dukes is a friend of mine. I've known her for over 20 years, and I introduced Amie to her. Introduced them a couple of years prior ago. I don't remember when, because Kat went to the same school that Amie went to, and they graduated with the same degree.
Objection, relevant scenario.
All right, well, I'll allow the answer to stand, and that's how he knows that individual. Okay, you move on.
And so you said the Cat Dukes went to school with Amie.
They went to the same school.
Objection, hearsay.
Oh,
and since you were one of Amie's close friends, did you ever know her around 2020 to vape?
No.
To smoke nicotine products?
Never.
Now, after Amie Harwick's passing away, have you been interviewed by any news agencies?
Yes.
Okay, and have you allowed yourself to be interviewed?
Yes.
And why is that?
I thought it important to...
It's just a statement, unless you can offer proof example.
It's other statements that he's...
There's nothing more powerful than you making your thing happen. Really going...
Approach. Let's approach.
They.
All right.
Okay. Trash man's in the background. I apologize for the clonk, clonk, clonk sound.
I have nothing further.
No more questions?
No more questions.
Okay, Mr. Franzel.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Kaufman.
Hello.
So you were interviewed by Detectives Carranza and Masterson.
Okay, this is the defense attorney's or the defense Gareth Purshouse's attorney. This guy got yelled at by the judge last week. So far this week, both of the women on his legal counsel team have been doing the cross-examination. So pay close attention to the interaction between the judge and this defense attorney. They do not get along.
On February 15th, 2020.
Yes.
And you told them everything that you thought was significant.
Everything I thought of at the time, yes.
And when you were talking to them in that initial interview, you wanted to help them.
Of course.
So you didn't leave out anything that you thought might be important.
I told them whatever came to mind at the time.
And whatever came to mind at the time.
Correct.
Okay. And the goal was to give them everything that you thought might be relevant.
Objection asked and answered, Mr. Stern.
Have you reviewed that interview recently?
Yes.
Have you watched the video?
I have watched the video, yes.
And did you read the transcript?
Yes, I did.
Now, you were also present during the interview of Sarah Rollins.
Yes.
You also testified at the preliminary hearing on the 22nd of September 2021.
I did.
And prior to that, on the 17th of September, you met with Mr. Avila and another deputy district attorney in the Hall of Justice.
Yes, I believe so.
And they asked you questions about the case.
I don't know if they asked any questions about the case, but we reviewed previous testimony or previous interviews.
Would it refresh your recollection to look at notes taken from that meeting?
Yes.
May I approach?
Yes.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes. And the question was, did you talk about the case? Is that the question?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, okay.
Once you've read it, to look up.
Okay.
Did that refresh your recollection?
Yes.
Okay. And in that September 17th meeting at the Hall of Justice, you did talk about the case, right?
Yes.
And that interview with the deputy district attorneys and the detective was not recorded.
Not to my knowledge.
Last week, on the 15th of September, at 12:55 p.m., you met with Detective Carranza and Mr. Avila, also at the Hall of Justice.
I don't even remember the exact time, but I did meet with them.
And in that meeting, they also asked you questions about the case, right?
I don't recall them asking me any questions, so if there's notes, I could review them.
Would it refresh your recollection?
Yes, please.
May I approach?
Yes.
Once you've reviewed that, just look up, please.
Yes. Okay.
Did that refresh your recollection?
Yes,
sir?
it did.
And they did ask you questions about the case in that September 15th, 2023 meeting, right?
Yes.
And that interview was not recorded?
I do not believe so.
You and Ms. Harwick were best friends?
She was my best friend, yes.
And so, obviously, you knew her extremely well?
Yes, I did.
And you'd been to her house at 2086 Mound Street many times?
Many times.
And you'd been to her previous residences?
Yes.
You had a good sense of her habits?
Yes.
And leaving her bed unmade from the night before would have been a normal thing for her to do?
I don't really go in her bedroom that often, so I can't say. I didn't know her bed-making habits, to be honest.
In your February 15th, 2020 interview, the detectives asked you this exact question, right?
Yes.
Do you recall that?
Yes.
And they specifically asked you whether or not it would have been normal. And do you recall answering that it would have been a normal thing in keeping with her personality to have left the bed unmade?
No, I don't remember saying that.
You never said that?
I don't remember saying that.
Okay. I have a clip that I'd like to mark defense next in order.
Yeah, triple I.
아니 미친년이 근데 씨.
With the witness, I said he doesn't remember saying that.
And he's going to try to refresh his recollection
I see. Just
with that, of that clip, I take it, just that
Well,
extra.
it might be easier. Would it refresh your recollection to look at the transcript?
Probably would be easier that way.
Sure.
What page? This is page, 1 second, 17. It actually starts on 16, line 27, and then it goes into page 17.
Okay.
I'm going to object calling for speculation.
I'm asking if it refreshes his recollection.
Okay, yes.
Well, did he? The question was whether he gave that answer to the detectives who purportedly asked the exact same question.
And I'm saying that's
not what's reflected on the
Here, can I set it back up again here?
Well, we can, but
we have to approach to make sure that this is a proper DJ.
I'm asking to refresh his
He's going to ask the question again. Go ahead.
Okay, were you asked, do you know much about her house habits? For example, the bed was unmade, like blanket folded back. Would she get up in the morning? Would she have that kind of, personality? As soon as I get out of bed, I make the bed, And so it could have been unmade from the day before or something? Yeah. Did you respond? Yeah.
I did respond, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it being unmade from the day before would have been a normal thing with her personality.
Well, that's misrepresents the statement, so it could have been unmade.
Right, and it is as such. His answer is yes, it could have been based on her habits. Could have been. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, I've seen her bed made and unmade.
All right, very good.
Well, so having it be unmade from the day before would not have been out of the ordinary for her.
I didn't see her bedroom every time I was over, so I really don't know. But I've seen it made and unmade, I guess.
But that's the way you answered the question, isn't it?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, let's move on if you would.
And you have seen her TV room.
Yes.
Publishing was previously marked as defense ZZ12. Is this her TV room?
Yes.
And around the time of February 14th, 2020, your wife at the time was making her curtains, right?
Correct.
Curtains for the TV room, right?
Yes.
Curtains that would go on a rod, right?
Yes.
And this is why you think that the curtain rods are like this, is because Ms. Harwick was going to put up curtains around that time.
Objection, foundation, conflict.
Sustained.
Was your wife at the time making her curtains?
But you said this is why you think. This is why you think that the.
Okay. Do you think that that's why the curtain rods were like that?
Same objection.
Okay, sustained. Would cause speculation. He doesn't know. It suffices to say his wife was making curtains. They were going to go on a rod. That's it. Can he say whether that is because the wife was making curtains? I don't think he has that ability, other than guessing.
Did the detectives ask you?
Is he the judge? School.
As you go up the stairs, the bedroom on the left, then another right, then another room on the right. Or did they ask you about the TV room in the interview?
Yes.
And did they ask you? Did they say, "I noticed there was curtain rods. There was some decorative rope you tie curtains back with." Do you remember that question?
Yes.
And they asked, "Is that normal?" About the curtain rods? Do you remember that?
But that's not the same question you posed, counsel. Let's get to the point with respect to the question you posed for him.
They asked you that they noticed that there are these curtain rods. Do you remember that?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And they asked you, is it normal? Are those curtain rods normal? Do you remember that?
The rods or the ropes?
The rods.
Okay.
I mean, I don't remember them asking if it was normal, but they were asking me about the rods.
And I'm going to object to counsel just reading a transcript and not asking a question.
All right. So he doesn't recall. Go ahead and show him the transcript back to him.
All right. Would it refresh your recollection, sir?
Do you think you'd be happier as a boy?
This is page 17.
Okay. Where am I?
If you could please read from line 6 down to line 27 and look up in your time.
Okay.
Did that refresh your recollection?
Yes.
And they asked you...
I'm going to object to just reading the transcript.
Ask him the question. Is it correct?
The detectives asked you about the curtain rods that they noticed there, right?
Yes.
And isn't it correct that you told them that your wife was making the curtains,
yes.
right?
Yes.
And that you thought that Ms. Harwick was getting ready to put the curtains up?
I thought that, yes.
All right. Let's approach, if you would, please.
Just as far as that answer, I'm going to object to calling for speculation. So I think she's getting ready to put up curtains.
Okay, that's the way it stands. It's characterized as I thought. So it'll stand as such. Is this on?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Oh, see, they're not supposed to have those sidebar-y things. On the record.
All right, Counsel.
Around the time of February 14th, 2020, Ms. Harwick had a cat.
Yes.
And now you are the owner of that cat, right?
Correct.
On direct, Mr. Avila asked you about the gathering at your house following Ms. Harwick's passing.
Yes.
And part of what happened at that gathering was talking about how Ms. Harwick would want her story to be national news.
It did come up, yes.
And how the people at that gathering might roll out an appropriate tale of who she was before the press got it.
We wanted to express who she was, yes.
And you made a post on Instagram on the 1-year anniversary of her passing describing that event, right?
Probably, yes.
Can you guys all hear? You keep your voice up if you lean into the microphone, sir.
Sorry. Yes, probably.
And that was the exact language you used in your post talking about the event, that you wanted to roll out an appropriate story of who she was before the press got it, right?
Yes.
Michael Herman was your housemate before he lived with Amie.
Yes.
And you've kept in touch with him since her passing, right?
Yes.
You talked about the case with him?
We have not really talked about the case, to be honest.
You were the one that told him to call detectives about his memory of hearing the sound of what he thought was a plate breaking.
Oh, yeah, right when it happened, around that time. And then we didn't talk after the initial period following the incident.
And you watched the footage of Mr. Herman's testimony that was on YouTube?
I did.
Did you watch any other parts of this case?
No, just his.
You've talked about Hernando Chavez about this case.
I have.
And Mr. Avila asked you whether you had sat for interviews with media, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you have sat for various interviews between TV shows and podcasts, right?
Yes.
And you've also connected other people with media sources.
I have.
Since her passing, you've been active on social media talking about the case.
I have been talking about her primarily, and dates about the case, but not a lot of detail of the case.
You followed Amie on Instagram, right?
Yes.
She had a couple different Instagram accounts, right?
Yes.
Her personal account was Amie Nicole 13.
Yes.
And your account is Robert Koshnet.
Correct.
I have in my hand what I'd like to mark as offense next
Triple I.
order. What's that?
Triple I.
Triple I.
Is it Jade? Are you still? Did we already mark on it?
I did not get marked. It was going to be the DVD, and then they went to a transcript instead.
Okay, so nothing was marked. Okay, so this is triple I.
It's 3 documents. The first appears to be. Yes, I'm giving you the copies right now. Here you go. The first appears to be a screenshot of a list of individuals that liked.
Hold on. I don't finish describing it.
Screenshot of a list of individuals that liked what appears to be an Instagram post.
All right, let's go.
Almost finished. I know. It's okay, baby. It's okay. You ready to go outside? Let's go.
Some people wake up and check their phones. Check the weather, check the news, check their stocks. I check SEMrush. With more than 55 digital marketing tools, I get all the data I need to jumpstart my day. I use this.
God, a girl can't even take her hot rollers out of her hair before this commercial again. It
All
looks
right,
like
Mr.
we're
President.
almost done. I still have to check.
So I have in my hand what I previously
11
marked
is
as triple I1 and what I'd like to mark as triple I2. And I already described what triple I1 is. It's a screenshot of various individuals that appear to have liked an Instagram post. And
The court stated that that's not.
Oh,
that
okay.
won't,
May I approach?
But first ask them if he's familiar with their Instagram, and then if it recognizes it, then you can approach. Oh, you can do that now if you want to do that. Go ahead.
So I'm showing you triple I2, what appears to be an Instagram post from Ms. Harwick's account.
Yes.
Do you recognize this?
Yes.
And is this a post that she posted on February 14th, 2019?
Yes.
And you liked this post?
Yes. Yes.
All right. I'd like to publish triple I2.
Make sure the redactions if there are any you
Yes.
make. Okay.
So
all right.
I'm not gonna show the comments.
Okay.
I'm just. This is her.
Just bring it down a little.
So that's her post.
Yeah, but bring it down a little.
That's not
There you
her
go.
comments.
Yeah.
Can I, Victor? So this is what she. Maybe you approach.
No, no more. No more. Come on, let's move on.
Okay.
All right.
So this is a picture that Ms. Harwick posted on February 14th, 2019, right?
I'm pausing one more time because I hope I'm not too loud. The defense continues repetitively throughout this whole entire trial to show this picture of her on her balcony that she fell off of because Gareth Pursehouse either yeeted her over the balcony or he chased her out there and maybe she did try to see if she could climb down it. I don't know. Regardless, he is responsible for her death. They keep doing this with this picture, saying, well, it certainly looks like she's comfortable. Okay, there. No. Now you've seen my dark side. Continue. And it's almost finished for the day.
Yes.
And you recognize
I recognize
right?
this, yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, go ahead.
And you liked it when she posted, at some point after she posted it.
Yes.
And this appears to be her on the balcony off of her bedroom, right?
Yes.
Due in part to your concern about how her story was going to be told in the media, you were following the media coverage of the case very closely.
Yes.
And you wanted to see, kind of what you guys were talking about during your meeting, how the media was characterizing it.
Objection compound.
Overruled. Do you understand the question?
I do. May I elaborate?
Yes, you can answer.
The first media coverage came out from TMZ while we were still all together, and it actually had a number of inaccuracies that...
Right, but his question was you were following it just to see how the story was developing.
There was no coverage until that happened, and then once it happened, we did follow, or I followed whatever coverage came out, yes.
Right. And so you were following things that were kind of tabloidy, just like TMZ, as well as more traditional sources, right?
Yes, whatever came out.
And you read the February 2020 LA Times article, slain therapist Amie Harwick was strangled before fall from balcony, coroner says. Do you recall reading that?
I didn't read that article.
The 20th of February was the first time the media had reported on this allegation of strangulation, to your knowledge.
Hold on.
To your knowledge.
Okay. Foundation and calling for hearsay based on his last statement.
Okay, well, are you referring to the same article that he's not familiar with, the different article?
I'm saying the media.
Okay, is that correct, or do you know?
I don't know what day that came out, but there was many media articles and stories.
Are you sick of having issues with your webinars, wasting tons of time on troubleshooting with attendees? If so,
on February 14th, 2020, to the best of your knowledge, the Google Nest cameras in Ms. Harwick's home were working.
Foundation?
Well, this is a stain.
Do you know whether on February 14th, 2020, the Nest system at her home was working?
I don't know on that day.
You testified at the preliminary hearing, right?
Yes.
And do you recall being asked, do you know whether on February 14th, 2020, the Nest system at her home was working?
What page?
139, lines 17 to 22. Do you recall being asked that?
I don't specifically recall.
Would it refresh your recollection to look at the transcript?
Yes.
Let me just.
This is improper impeachment.
Again, this approaching is getting out of hand.
I'm not impeaching. I'm asking.
I understand that, but if he answered to that question differently than he stated now, whether he doesn't know, he said he doesn't know whether we're working properly. If that shows differently, for example, he said affirmatively they were working. I agree, but if he says he didn't know or something to that effect, it's not coming in, counsel. That's not a refreshing recollection.
His answer was different, Your Honor.
Oh, let's take a look down here. What line?
It's 17.
Line 17.
I recommended the camera.
The cameras in her house, right?
I recommended the cameras, but I did not set them up.
And to the best of your knowledge, when they were installed in the house, they were operational.
Foundation?
Well, I'll have a question.
Yes, she sent me some videos from them.
And from that, you were able to decipher that they were working?
Yeah, because there was video footage from the cameras, yes.
And there was audio as well?
Yes.
And when you met with the detectives on February 15th, you told them it was important to get the Nest camera footage.
Correct.
You told them to do it quickly.
Yes.
You wouldn't have told them that if you didn't think they weren't.
Objection.
You wouldn't have told them that if you didn't think they were working, right?
That's an answer.
No, sustained.
The purpose of his
he asked that, but he assumed they were working. That's why you wanted the policeman to get a hold of them, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
all right.
You used the password you found in the planner to log into her Gmail account, right?
Correct.
And you didn't tell the detectives about it and have them logged in. And have them log in.
No, the minute I found it, I did it.
Nothing further.
Any redirect?
Yes. So you have Dr. Amie Harwick's cat.
Correct.
Does that cat have a litter box?
He does.
Does he have a litter box?
Litter box, right? I mean, he goes. That's where he goes to urinate.
He
right?
has two.
Oh, I
he
see.
has two.
I get it. I understand.
Is he urinating? Well, I'm not going to.
No, I understand where you're going with this. Okay. All right.
I hope someone does.
Yes.
All right. That photo that defense counsel showed you of Dr. Amie Harwick, that's about a year before her death, correct?
Correct.
When counsel asked you questions about why you're conducting interviews with the media, why are you conducting interviews?
Objection. That question was not asked.
There was an objection, and I disallowed it.
No, he asked on recross. He objected when I asked for it, but then he asked about it.
No, he didn't ask about it. He just said whether he was following the media and so forth, and he was conducting. Was he conducting interviews? And the answer was yes. But what was said or what have you?
Well, my question is, why is he doing it? To explain it.
Okay, and that came out, and I'll allow you to do that, and that is to get the story out, which they thought the characterization of the story should be, I guess, a positive one.
Well, counsel asked about other interviews beyond that first interview.
No, Your Honor, I asked.
Okay, no, is that objection? Go ahead.
So my question as to those other interviews that he's conducted after that first one, why is he doing it?
Objection relevance.
Oh, you can answer.
You can answer.
He didn't ask him what was said.
I'm not going to ask him what.
Okay, why was he conducting them? Okay, no.
You can answer that.
Okay, prior to the incident, I talked about Amie to everybody all the time while she was still alive, and then afterwards, I wanted to tell people about how awesome she was, which is what I did when she was alive, and the fact that the media were interested to hear that story, I felt like more people could know just what an amazing person she was.
Why did you watch Michael Herman's testimony from YouTube?
I have always wanted to talk to Michael about what happened that night. I mean, I was with him the next morning, and we've been together a number of times, but like we both haven't been able to talk about it. And while I was very interested in what happened and his experience that night, it's just we haven't been able to talk about it in person, even though we've been together a number of times. So I kind of wanted to know what happened from his perspective, I guess.
I have nothing further.
Do you want to have any questions about the cat's litter box or anything? No. Any questions, Mr. President? You may step down, sir. People, you're calling your last witness?
Yes.
Okay. Last witness are called. All right. And who was that? Oh, there are no applause. No applause. Is somebody applauding? I thought I heard some. Okay, who's the last witness?
It's Grace Stanley, but if I could read a stipulation that
All right.
we read before, but it's going to be marked as an exhibit. People's next in order.
Okay, you're going to be at the stip is going to be 139.
139.
Yes.
If I could just read it now.
Yes, go ahead.
It's been previously stated to the jury, but now it's in written form.
All right.
Stipulation: a restraining order naming Amie Harwick as the protected person was issued on April 12, 2012, ordering Gareth Pursehouse to stay 100 yards away from her home, job, and vehicle. The restraining order expired on April 11, 2015. It was not in effect at the time of the incident. So stipulated?
So stipulated pursuant to court's ruling.
Yes, of course. All right.
People call Grace Stanley.
Ms. Stanley, if you could approach the witness stand, please. Raise your right hand.
All right, so this is the
You
final
solemnly state that
witness.
the testimony you're about to give will cause not pending
It's the
before this
final
court to be
witness
true, the whole truth,
for
nothing but
the
truth, so help you God.
prosecution,
Thank you. Please have a seat.
the state. And we are very close to the end
Please
of
state
day
and spell both
10.
your first and last name.
Grace Stanley, Grace, Stanley, Stanley.
Ms. Chavila?
Yes, thank you. Ms. Stanley, did you know Amie Harwick?
I did, yes.
This is how much YouTube has been paying me for a brand new channel that I created that only has 400.
Probably because you throw your ads on every 5 minutes.
May I have one moment?
Yes.
Looking at people's number 9. Do you recognize the person in that photograph?
I do.
And who is that?
That's Amy.
And how did you know Amie Harwick?
She was one of my best friends.
And prior to her passing away in 2020, how long had you known her?
About 14 years.
How did you meet her?
We met through mutual friends.
How did you come to meet her?
Just through mutual friends, we were on a night out and someone said, "You'd really like this girl." I just moved here.
And did you?
Yeah. Yeah, we hit it off immediately.
And prior to her passing, let's say the year before her passing, about how often would you see her?
I would see her sometimes several times a week. She worked very close to my house.
How often would you communicate with her, either by calling her on the phone or text messaging?
Every day. Every day.
During the time you've known her, have you ever known her to smoke nicotine products?
Never. No.
Vape?
No.
Do you know the defendant here in court, Gareth Pursehouse?
Yes, I do.
And could you please point him out for the jury and describe what he's wearing today and where he's seated?
He's seated over there wearing a brown jacket and glasses.
All right, identify the defendant.
Did you know him to date your friend Amie Harwick?
Yes, I did.
And this witness has been admonished to the extent
Yes.
of the court. Okay.
Yes.
Very good.
And is it your understanding that they broke up sometime around 2012?
Yes, 2011, 2012, around there.
After that, did you ever see Amie Harwick with defendant Pursehouse after 2012?
No, I did not.
Sometime after January, now we're talking about 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Sometime in January 2020, did Amie Harwick express to you some concern for her safety?
Yes, she did.
Can you tell us how that came about?
She called me, I believe January 17th, after she ran into Gareth at the XBiz Awards. And we spoke probably for about an hour, maybe a little longer.
Can you tell us what she said in regards to her concern for her safety during that conversation?
She was just scared. She's been avoiding him for a long time.
And let's just focus on the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
What she expressed about her fear during that conversation.
She was just scared that he was going to harm her in some way. She wanted to up security around her house.
Is that what she told you?
Yes.
Did you receive a text message from her on January 19th, 2020?
January 19th. Yes. Yes.
So I have a document with 2 pages. It appears to be a text message. May this be marked people's next in order?
Good. 140.
140, A, B. Looking at page A. See at the very top of this text message says Amie?
Yes.
Okay, do you recognize this text message?
Yes, I do.
Is this something you received on your phone?
Yes.
And did you then provide a copy of a screenshot of this message to Los Angeles Police Department detectives?
I did.
And obviously, your version is not redacted, but if we can focus on this. did she text to you on January 19, 2020 at around 10:43 a.m.? I'm concerned about my safety right now with the Gareth situation.
Yes.
Looking at photograph B, she sent you another text on January 19th at about 12:51 p.m. Well, actually, sometime after 12:51 p.m.
Yes.
So the blue would be your text to her.
Yes, it was.
And then she responded with, I blocked him through text message, but because of his level of obsession, I definitely don't think I'm in the clear. I have pepper spray at the house now. My roommate's on alert. I'm upping my home security cameras.
Yes.
And you know that Amie Harwick passed away on February 15th, 2020.
Yes.
If you need to take a moment, there's some tissue right behind that screen in front of you.
Yes. Here. Yes, I do.
Prior to that, when was the last time you saw her?
I saw her around February 10th. I left for Europe on the 12th.
Where did you see her on February 10th?
We used to go to Joe's Cafe in West Hollywood.
And how would you describe her? Was she still concerned on February 10th, 2020 for her safety?
Yes, she never stopped being concerned after that run-in.
And she was concerned that for her safety in regards to Gareth Pursehouse?
Yes.
I have nothing further on.
Cross-examination, who's examining? All right.
Good afternoon.
It'll be very brief. When you first reached out to detectives, you sent them screenshots of your text exchange with Amie Harwick, is that right?
Yes, I did.
And you were directed to do that by Robert Koshland?
I had reached out to Robert to ask if there was anything I could do.
And then did he direct you to send screenshots to the detectives?
Yes, he just gave me an email address and said, reach out.
Okay, and so that was at his direction?
Objection argumentative.
Well, the answer was yes. She answered yes, it was in his direction. Is that correct? Did he advise you to send him to the police?
As a wedding photographer with over 15 years working experience, Evoto has become a photo editing.
He didn't advise me.
Okay.
No, I asked if there was anything I could do.
Did you send an email to the LAPD indicating that Robert Koshland directed you to reach out and pass on a few screenshots?
That he had provided the email address, yes. I don't remember exactly what the email said.
Would it refresh your recollection to look at it?
Yes.
May I approach?
Yes.
So if you could just take a look at this and see if it refreshes your recollection, let me know when you're done.
Okay, yes.
Is your recollection refreshed?
Yes.
And did you indicate in this email that Robert Koshland directed you to reach out and pass on a few screenshots of conversations?
I did say that in the email.
Thank you. Nothing further.
That email was February 24th, 2020, approximately?
I do not recall.
May I approach? Would it help you take a look at the email and see the date when you sent the email?
Yes. Yes, okay.
Did you send that email to detectives on February 24th, 2020?
Yes.
I have nothing further.
Any based on that question?
No.
All right, ma'am, you may step down. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
People rest subject to the admissibility of our exhibits.
Okay, people rested. Let's see, counsel, let's sidebar, people, please.
Okay, so this is the first time I've used OBS on YouTube all alone. I'm frightened. Happy Friday, everyone. That was the state's final witness, and it looks like they took a short recess and then they're going to cut for the day. I just opened up a new YouTube window to look and see if day 11 has posted yet. This day 10 was posted several hours after it was supposed to be, and so I planned the Carey Lake trial over on my Rumble channel instead. And of course, as soon as that thing got going, then the state...
What's going to happen is that counsel and I are going to discuss some issues. You're going to return tomorrow at 9:30. You're going to hear from some witnesses on behalf of the defense. Again, they have no burden, but they're going to call some witnesses. And what I advised you yesterday, the likely scenario is, a very good probability, is that next week you will get final summation from final argument from the attorneys, and then you start your deliberations. I read the instructions before the attorneys argue, and I'll read these instructions to you, and then the attorneys will get the chance to argue what the evidence, according to each attorney believes, has established in this case, and then you begin your deliberations, all right? So you're free to go. We'll see you tomorrow at 9:30. Be safe, if you will.
Sorry. Thank you so much for letting me know. I absolutely love this OBS. So for those of you who have your own channels, whether you stream true crime or whether you stream underwater basket weaving or what have you, StreamYard was a great like baby step, like going from the world of no live stream to the world of live streaming and getting over your terror, sheer terror of talking into a little teeny tiny black circle. But after a few months, I really encourage you to switch over to this OBS. It's an open source software. You do have, if you stream to more than one location at a time, you do need to add something like Restream, which gives you the capacity to stream to multiple places at one time. I sometimes like to do both YouTube and Rumble, but to be honest with you, I think I have to just kind of like say crime one side, crime YouTube, and politics on Rumble, because neither side likes each other. I don't know what it is. So that was the final witness for the state. The defense is going to begin their argument. We can get rid of this. Oh, and while you're at it, make sure to like, let's do that again. Like, comment, and share. Okay, so I just wanted to maybe buy a tiny bit of time here okay, so I just wanted to maybe buy a tiny bit of time here okay, so I just wanted to maybe buy a tiny okay, so I just wanted to mute, maybe buy there. Okay, so I'm going to buy a little bit of time here before I completely give up. On day 11, I thought this would seamlessly work, and I thought wrong. So in order to do that, I can't do this one, but I am going to click on it to show you. If you click on that third link,
try this 90-second trick to instantly reduce your winter energy bills by up to 85%. This jet engine...
Exactly a year ago. You'll go right over to my Rumble channel, And we did a watch and chat over there, the 48 Hours episode of Dr. Amie Harwick. There's me explaining, and then here's the episode. And this was actually his first interview 2.5 years after this episode. Right here, he introduces her as his fiancée on a Valentine's Day episode. Also, when you go over to Rumble, make sure to switch the quality because they default to #1. So that's what's on that link there. I can't have the sound on because YouTube already likes to put me in jail. That's why I don't put much over here. But now that people are watching, maybe I will. These ones, this is the prosecution's opening recap that I put on Rumble. This we can watch just to buy us some time. Will reveal a pattern of obsession, fear, and ultimately, and I was trying to use CapCut for the first time, so it's not. The evidence will reveal a pattern of obsession, fear, and ultimately a brutal crime. The evidence will reveal a pattern of obsession, fear, and ultimately a brutal crime committed by Gareth Pursehouse. Amie's background and relationship with the defendant, they dated about 10 years. They broke up sometime in 2011. In 2012, Amie obtained a restraining order against Gareth, ending their relationship. Amie moved on with her life, cut off all contact with him, and pursued her education and career. She worked her fanny off, taking jobs, eating fire, and go-go dancing, and what have you, to pay her way through school. Amie and her friend, Dr. Hernando Chavez, attended an adult entertainment convention the night that she ran back into Gareth. Gareth, unexpectedly working as a photographer at the event, caused a commotion. Amie tried to calm Gareth down after he confronted her and said she ruined his life. They hadn't seen each other in, what was it, like 8 years or so? And he was a software engineer, but he also did photography on the side. He also was a stand-up comedian. Terrible one. And happened to be photographing an event that she was also at. So it was completely a coincidence that he happened to be a hired photographer the night that she was walking the red carpet going to this event. After Amie and Hernando left the event, she wrote an email to herself documenting the encounter and her fears about Gareth's obsession. She increased her home security measures, obtained pepper spray, and informed her roommate. Gareth found Amie's number online and texted her. Amie responded but set boundaries indicating she wanted space and no further contact. Valentine's Day, Amie went out with friends. In the evening, around the same time, Gareth texted another person, Natasha Paulson. Amie sent texts about the encounter to her friend Sarah Rollins. Then he broke into the home. Amie returned home around 1:02 a.m. Amie's roommate, Michael Herman, heard commotion and her screams. Michael yelled out, but the altercation continued. She was attacked, suffered injuries, and was strangled. Michael went to go get help. It's my understanding that he actually attempted to knock on several doors before someone answered. It looked like in that video that they showed us briefly, that was like 9 minutes after this happened. He was knocking on people's doors, or 6 minutes. It was 9 minutes when you see the little coward Gareth take off. Michael went to get help. Detectives later discovered evidence of a struggle in the hallway. He moved the body to the balcony. He dropped her over the balcony, causing fatal injuries. Michael called 911. Amie was found by responding officers unconscious and severely injured. Attempts to save her life were unsuccessful, and she was pronounced dead at Cedars-Sinai. Gareth contacted another woman, Angela Judas. Later that day, he was found with injuries when arrested. Evidence collected from his residence included a syringe and other items. It's also my understanding that, like, it was a set. He had a set of syringes. He had one in his pocket and then several at home. All right, so that was Crime Spies about, what, 3 weeks ago, I suppose? I guess it doesn't say. Summation of the prosecutor's opening statement on day 1. I'm just trying to buy some time until that video drops. So for those of you who don't use Rumble, Rumble is getting better. It's mostly a conservative audience over there, but everybody is welcome. Dan Bongino is part owner of it. All voices are welcome. I always tell people the art of debate is lost. It would be kind of nice to find some instances where the art of debate can be practiced again. I mean, when I'm old, I remember in high school there was debate club. So the art of debate is lost, and as long as we all play nice in the sandbox, it would be no fun if everybody thought exactly the same. So differing opinions are encouraged. But for some things, I just go over there on Rumble and do it because it's just easier. Let's see, what else was I going to say? The art of debate is lost, but it'd be kind of nice for the most part. That's another thing I really enjoy about the Brian Let's Talk Live podcast people is they do play nice in the sandbox. There are differing opinions. And, it could be the way he's moderating it. But, like I said, I don't want to hear my opinion all the time. I'd like to hear other people's opinions too. Like change my mind kind of things. Okay, so again, I'm just trying to buy some time in case day 11 drops. Otherwise, I have to do a separate one. Corporate offices are just near my parents' home. Oh, that's interesting. You know who's right by me? My pillow. Mike Lindell grew up here. This is where he's from. My pillow. He throws pillows at us at the steamboat days in September. Early September, right before the kids go back to school. There's steamboat days in Carver. Well, we don't really go to it anymore. My son graduated in 2021. My triplet daughters are graduating in 2024. My son was in he was in band from 5th grade till 12th grade, and all through high school, 9th through 12th, he was in marching band and pep band. Actually, his 12th grade year was during the Rona, so they got totally robbed. But that's a whole nother episode of Crime Spies. But anyway, so the marching band always went to steamboat days and did like patriotic songs. Yeah. And okay, so they were they'd always be at the very end of the parade. They'd play some kind of Christian music, and it kind of looked like an open top, like if you know what a moving van looks like. If a moving van and a dump truck like merged, like a hybrid between the two. So it looks like a moving van, but the top is out, and it was filled with all these little travel size My Pillows. And then they'd, wrapped in plastic. Inside was like a $20 little, like gift card. And they would just chuck them at the crowd. They were always at the end. So again, my son's senior year was robbed. But for 3 years, we'd go. And every year, there's Mike Lindell right at the beginning. And the last year, that, so Sam's 11th grade year, for marching band, you have to go pick up the kids at the very end, and then the rest of because they're kind of towards the beginning. And so I went and picked them up, and they have like their, pep band polo shirts on. And Mike Lindell takes a look at Sam. Sam didn't even put his hands up or nothing, because by this point we had a shit ton of pillows, let's tell you. But he just chucked one right at Sam because he was in the band. I just thought it was cool. And actually, I still have, my ex-husband was in the furniture business. And like I said, Mike Lindell is from right out here. And his very first My Pillows, he brought to International Market Square, which was the furniture rep market here in Minneapolis. My ex-husband was a furniture manufacturer's rep. And he comes home one night, and he's got 2 king-size My Pillows, and then like this little travel pillow that had like elastic wraparound. And and he brought it home. He goes, "Look at these new pillows. Supposedly you're supposed to be able to wash them because we were using down pillows. And as you can hear, I have terrible, terrible allergies." He's like, "They're hypoallergenic. You can throw them in the wash. You just got to fluff them." And I still have them. And I have new My Pillows, and they're just as good as the new ones. And those are like 15 years old. Actually, way back on my Twitter, because that's my personal Twitter account, way back on my Twitter somewhere is the girls coming home. Well, My son didn't want to take a picture, but I had the triplets lined up on the front step with their little my pillows, and we tagged them, My Pillow and Mike Lindell. And then he liked it. It was so cool. Anyway, so there's my tangent. See, I'm buying some time. All right. Let's see. Okay, so that was prosecution. So we've gone over this. This is the Drew Carey interview. Again, you can watch on Rumble the videos. You don't need to have an account with Rumble to watch them. If you want to interact with them, you have to create an account. If you need to create an account, nobody's ever done this before, but if you click on this link, it'll bring you to, that's how much money I've made, $40.45. $35 of that is Rumble Rants. I think I have to log out. Yeah, $10 a month. But like I said, actually here, I'll show you. So for those of you who think that making money on doing YouTube videos is like raking in the dough, this is how much I've made per month this month. I've made zero money on YouTube because I'm not monetized. And this is how much money I've made in since end of March. $6.46. That last screen was including Rumble Rants over that 5-month duration. So anyway, but if you click on that link and I'm not logged in, it's like a registration link, and I think it plugs in my name, and I think it's like $5 or something. So, all right. The other thing I wanted to do, oh, and I do have in the link below just a thank you for Brian the other day having me on. There's the link to that interview. Thank you, Brian, LTL Podcast. Then here's a description of what happened. Here is the crime scene link. This is her home that was sold. This monitor is not helping me. Well, anyway, you can go through this if you would like. But this is the link of her home. It was sold like 9 months after. I'm surprised it was only sold for $1.3 million. It's beautiful. It looks a lot bigger than it is, actually. But anyway, so for those of you who want to take a look at her home, I forget what day of testimony it was. They did, with the body cam footage of the interior of the home. This day 10, we did see her sitting room, which is, it just breaks my heart. My daughter loves that bathroom. She's like, Mom, I love that bathroom. Okay, so this is her bedroom. Here's the balcony that she was, look at this cute area here. I wonder if there's a door here. Look at this cute area here. Now, again, this is the listing of her home, so it's not exactly like the crime scene that's on the body cam footage. I just wanted to show you how cute it is. There's another, there is a door here, so that's that little sitting area. And this is, I think, on the other side. View her that must be her closet. Look at how cute her bathroom is. Look at this, the ornateness. Look at these old-fashioned claw tubs. Look at. There, that's that sitting room. Actually, this is the same couch. So that was just shown here in day 10 because they were talking about the curtains. Richard's wife was making curtains. That is that same couch. Where did he enter? He entered on the lower level. Look at how cute this is. And I think she did videos from here. Look at how cute this home is. This is Michael's room. This was the roommate's room. So it's on the lower level. He had heard somebody he thought was Amie break a plate or like something ceramic, and then it sounded like they cleaned it up. And that ended up being Gareth coming into the home. So this is on the lower level. I'll see if I can find. So this must be his bathroom. This is the back patio area. Oh, she's got plants in the fire pit. Or maybe that is Well, here in Minnesota, lots of people have fire pits and they usually look like that. You know, they put like propane in the middle, or sometimes they're wood burning. The propane ones with like the colored glass. So this must be some kind of like, well, there's the laundry room there. I don't know where specifically that is. I do think, let's see if I can find where he entered. I can find it. I don't think he entered through the front door. I think he entered through the back of the house, because when the roommate Michael heard the crash, which he thought was Amie breaking like a plate or something, and then he heard them clean it up, and then went back to sleep. But then shortly after 1 o'clock in the morning, because her last text message was sent at 1:02 to her friend asking, "Hey, it was so fun. Can you send me the pictures on the green couch?" So that's the last known time. And then all of a sudden, the roommate downstairs heard the screams, bolted up in bed. He could not find his cell phone. He did not have a gun. He had some knives, but he didn't grab those either. He went to the doorway. And so, again, that's why I'm pretty sure, well, maybe he did. I think he entered through the back of the house. So there's a picture from the back patio that you can see, because they had to climb over the fence. This is getting muddy. I'll try to see if I can't just write something up about that. But briefly, he heard the screaming. He couldn't find his phone. He went to the little entrance of his bedroom door, and there's like a long, narrow staircase. Well, there's a staircase here too. I just think this is the front of the house. I could be wrong. Somewhere in the trial there is like a blueprint. Anyway, so he screamed like, "Hey, what's going on? Leave her alone." And because he did not have a weapon, he did not have a phone, he didn't want to make it into a double homicide, he decided his best course of action was to run around and try to find someone to call 911. So then there's video of him going to the next door neighbor's house, whose Ring camera was the ones that caught Gareth entering the home, breaking into the home, and exiting the home. Their cameras were installed the week before. Her cameras were also installed, but I don't think they were operational yet, because I never, through the whole course of this trial, the only videos I've seen are the body cam videos of the officers who are the first responders, and the neighbors' security cameras, again installed a week before. Had the next door neighbors' cameras not been installed when they wouldn't have caught him coming up. He even was trying to he located the phone, and there's one of him going right up to the camera trying to shut it off. And then, like I said in that opening prosecution's statement, the little coward runs away. They got him on that too. Did he have a key to get in? No, I think he broke a window and got in that way. I'll find it for you, Bella. I'll find it. Okay, so I'm trying to buy some time here. The other thing I wanted to show you was this link. So the second to the last witness, so Robert, her best friend that testified with glasses on that has her cat. He is, I had explained, I'm not sure if you were here. Okay, I don't know if it's up yet. When I looked before I started rambling here, it wasn't on. But Robert, if you weren't here like an hour or so ago, I explained that Robert was the one that, because her body was flown back to Pennsylvania and buried, she was born and raised in Pennsylvania, but she spent most of her adult life out in California. So her funeral was over in Pennsylvania. That's where her body was buried. Robert, as her best friend, and because she spent most of her adult life and built just this humongous network of beautiful friendships in California, they had tried to do a fundraiser. They have they have, I don't know if it's a 3D rendering of it or if it's, you know, a 2-scale drawing. I don't know, of a bronze statue they'd like to place somewhere. And I'm not sure if it's on here, but this link is below. This is where you go. But in summation, they were trying to raise funds to build this beautiful statue in California so all her friends would have a place to go memorialize her. Bronze memorial dedicated to the legacy of Dr. Amie Harwick and the victims of domestic violence. However, this crime happened in the early morning hours of February 15th, 2020. Again, her last text message was sent at 1:02 a.m. and we all know that the Rona hit about a month later. So their fundraising efforts were kind of squashed. And I believe in that 48 hours episode that's on my Rumble channel, I believe that's the interview at the end where he says, yeah, we're trying to kind of get that going again. So you can read all about this. It's beautiful. You can make a donation. Here, this is it. So this is the concept of it. And then here's her cat, Marquise. Now, Dr. Robert, the guy we saw testify with the glasses on, the second to the last witness, has Marquis. He has this cat. So this is what they're trying to build. And again, you can find that link right underneath the video, right here where it says donations can be made. So we went over that. We went over crime scene. Here is a breakdown. Judges not allowing live stream. It's a 1-day delay, approximately 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which didn't happen yesterday. I waited around for a while. It still didn't come, so I made other plans. And now here we are almost at the same time, and it's still not here. So you can read about this here. And then up here, again, prosecution opening recap. This is the defense opening recap. If you do not like swear words, please close your ears for the next 5 minutes. So this is kind of a summation. And again, these recap videos from 3-ish weeks ago have been pretty dead on. So this is me explaining. And again, if you don't like swear words, close your ears. Here's what the defense has to say. They read this, I don't know if it was a letter, email, whatever. Here's what the defense has to say. They read this, I don't know if it was a letter, email, whatever. These are the messages Gareth sent to her after unexpectedly encountering her, having not seen her for nearly 8 years, running into her on January, 16th, 2020, plunged him into a profound and paralyzing depression that he couldn't overcome. He sought her aid, desperately asking for the chance to converse with her. The evidence will reveal that running into her at the event triggered a heavy fog of depression, compelling him to believe that speaking to her was the sole way to alleviate his pain. The central question you will need to address is what Gareth Pursehouse's intent was when he entered her house on February 14th, 2020. The evidence will illustrate that he was acting from within the grip of his depression and that his sole intention that night was to talk to her. Bullshit. I think they said the syringe with the nicotine wasn't for her, it was for him. He was going to commit suicide in front of her. Well, that would have saved us all some grief now, wouldn't it? This guy is an awful, evil person. California does have a death penalty if there's a special circumstance attached to it. The special circumstance is lying in wait. So because he was lying in wait for her, broke in the house, waited for her to come home, that's the special circumstance that could make this a death penalty sentence. Say a prayer that happens. This guy's a jackass. That breakup had a profound impact on Gareth, leaving him in a state of debilitating depression. He struggled to function, even lost his job. Okay, well, that happens to a lot of people. Everybody's been broken up by someone that they were in love with. So it's just all how you handle it. Sometimes there's all kinds of ways to cope. The best way to get over an ex is to get under someone else. That's how it goes. Okay, break he endured, changed him. Strategies. lack of premeditation and intents. The defense aims to establish that Pursehouse did not have premeditated intentions to kill Amie Harwick. They argue that his actions were driven by his overwhelming depression and the desperate need to communicate with her. They contend that his emotional state clouded his judgment and led him to enter her house, but he did not have the intention to take her life. Bullshit. Diminished capacity due to depression. The defense may present evidence to highlight the debilitating nature of Pursehouse's depression. They could argue that his mental state impaired his ability to think clearly and rationally, which affected his capacity to form the intent required for first-degree premeditated murder. Bullshit. Number 3, causation and proximate cause. What led to Amie Harwick's death, his primary goal was not to kill her. They could assert that the cause of her death was not a direct result of his actions, but rather an unintended consequence of their interaction. Bullshit. Okay. Defense could argue that Harwick's fall from the balcony was a tragic accident or an unintended outcome of their struggle. I call bullshit on that too. They may contend that Pursehouse did not foresee or intend for her to fall, and therefore he should not be held responsible for her death as a premeditated act of murder. Well, gee, when you pick someone up after you strangled and beat the shit out of them, and yeet them over the edge of the friggin' balcony, I call that, you know, what was he doing? Gonna go serenade her and do like some kind of friggin' dance out there on the patio, like Lady and the Tramp, or what? Pursehous's mental state and emotional instability could be factors that influenced his actions. They could argue that his actions were impulsive and driven by a momentary lapse of judgment due to his mental health struggles. Pursehous's initial intention was to harm himself, and that he brought the syringe with him as a means of self-inflicted harm rather than intending to harm or kill. Again, bullshit. Oh, they're going to call some character witnesses who knew Pursehouse and Harwick to testify about their relationship dynamics, Pursehouse's emotional state and his overall character, evidence. I forgot about this part. So again, day 10 ended with the final witness. I'm not sure if she's going to be cross-examined on day 11. I have to look and see if the day 11 footage is on. I'm trying to stall for time. Just playing some of these videos. If you've seen them already, I apologize, but I've had them in the links below. This is the defense. This is like a recap of the defense opening statement I filmed like 3 weeks ago. I used CapCut to edit my first, second, third attempt. So it's not very good, but it's better than me and my so's and ums and ahs and crap. So let's just listen to this very end very carefully, because now I get into the part where they're talking about calling the witnesses they plan on calling for the defense, character witnesses. Harwick to testify about their relationship dynamics, Pursehouse's emotional. Oh, they're going to call some character witnesses who knew Pursehouse and Harwick to testify about their relationship dynamics, Pursehouse's emotional state and his overall character, evidence to demonstrate that Pursehouse was not a violent or malicious person. Bullshit. May introduce expert testimony to challenge the prosecution's theory about the fall and the events leading to her death. They might present alternate scenarios or interpretations of the evidence to cast doubt on the prosecution's version. So once a strategy appears to resolve around establishing that while Pursehouse's actions were a factor in Harwick's death, he did not have the intention to premeditate and commit murder. They will likely aim to convince the jury that Pursehouse's mental state, emotional turmoil, and the circumstances surrounding their interactions should be taken into consideration when determining his culpability. Here's what the defense
Try this 90-second trick to instantly reduce your winter energy bills by up to 85%. This jet engineer's simple...
This was this great love. I'm sorry. That was another time. See, there's this button here on my microphone. But then it makes a clicking sound, but then I can tell if I'm talking or not. All right, so what I was saying was, if you want, I'm going to cut the live stream. So if you want, you can just click on this link over here. This last one, it's in the description box underneath. See, I should just use it when the button is off, then I know I'm off versus using the on-screen thing. Thank you for telling me, Bella. You're not a lip reader? What? I'm teasing. I tease. So if I were you, I'm going to have to end this live stream because I think I've circled around as much as I can. I will edit the title of it to just be day 10. There is a border... There is a... I think it's Homeland Security, Border Security, Mayorkas Border Crisis hearing from Wednesday. I still haven't done. So I'm going to give it maybe a little bit more time. I do need to get some more tea here. I'm almost out. Oh, the tea of the day is peppermint. I am addicted to Earl Grey. This was yesterday. Earl Grey tea. Earl Grey is a tea. It's a black tea that has like a hint of orange and lavender. I know that sounds disgusting. And at first when I tried it, I was like, not quite sure about this. But if you put a little tiny bit of vanilla coffee creamer in it, it is addicting. Well, I drink it plain too. This was yesterday. This must go in the dishwasher. Today is peppermint tea. I will show you one more thing. So if you're looking for something to do and you want to learn a little bit more about the case, click on this link. It's the 48 hours. I just talk in the beginning, fast forward through me, and then fast forward at the end. I will put up day 11. I'll wait around a little while longer, but if it takes more than an hour, I'm going to go ahead and do that border security one on my Rumble channel because I wanted to see that. There was 3 border security House committee hearings last week. All 3 are must-watches. It dealt with trafficking of all different varieties. Again, I'm on YouTube now. I have to censor myself. Rumble, you don't have to censor yourself. You can just keep talking and you can play stuff. Also on my Rumble channel is the brand new Becky Hill audiobook about the Murdaws. That's on my Rumble channel. I might have put it in private because I was only going to send it out to people that... like you, Bella Italia. I'll send you the link if I can figure out how to get a hold of you. Or maybe I'll unleash it for the weekend. Maybe I'll do that. But the brand new audiobook that Becky Hill wrote is, and she narrates most of it. Not very good, I might add. That's on my Rumble channel. We have an audiobook club over there. What else? Oh, there's a new Surviving Amber Heard documentary that I bought and live streamed on a watch and chat. Again, I might have put that in private because it's brand new. But I'd be happy to unprivate it for the weekend for those of you from LTL, Brian LTL, Let's Talk Live's podcast as a thank you Again, you don't need to be a member of Rumble or a subscriber of Rumble to watch the videos. You just have to be a subscriber to like, comment, etc. And it's free to create a new account. The link up here will bring you to a screen that I get a small $5 fee I think nobody's ever used. Also, if you are new to Rumble, I would strongly encourage you to use the web browser for Rumble and not the app. I don't know if they have an app in the App Store for desktop computers. I have a MacBook and I also have a Windows 11 PC here. But I just use the browser. On all of my mobile devices, I don't use the app. I use Brave browser or Safari. So I would strongly encourage you just to use the web-based browser. Rumble does have growing pains. YouTube wasn't built in a day. They're doing a good job. They don't let us do playlists. They only let us schedule 2 live streams at a time, etc., etc. But it's this very friendly platform. You don't get a whole lot of hate over there. And people, you know, play nice in the sandbox, I guess. So for now, I will end. I have not uploaded on here my goodbye for the crime one. I only have the politics one, which I don't dare play. I don't want to offend anyone. All right. So I guess for now we're just going to fade to black, and we will. I guess I'll be in touch. I'll be in LTL's chat tonight. I think he has a members only live stream. So, and I'll be on my Twitter, SAHANWAPOW, on X, now Twitter. Here's what I'm going to say. DM me there, and I can send you the link to one Becky Hill audiobook on Rumble. It's only 4 hours long. I think we played it in like 1.2 times speed. And again, Rumble has the little gearbox on the bottom of it, just like YouTube does. So you can have it go down or you can have it go up. You can do picture in picture. You can do full screen. You can change the quality. I stream in HD, so the default I think is 1. I don't know. It doesn't matter really. So Becky Hill audiobook on Rumble. It's like 4 hours long-ish. And number 2, Surviving Amber Heard documentary. It was 2 parts. I can't remember where I bought it, but it was like an independent. Please use hashtag LTL sent me. So either DM me use a hash. Just put like hashtag LTL sent me so I don't miss it. The thing is, when I put stuff on Twitter, now X, I have to like covertly code some of this stuff so that it doesn't get, I mean, even though Rumble pretty much leaves me alone, I'll say something like, hey, for those of you who read the Becky Hill audiobook, join me at, such and such time only on my Rumble channel and we'll discuss. What that means is we'll listen to it. Does that make sense? There, now you know all my secrets. You know my hair secret. Just kidding. All right, I'm done rambling. There you go. We'll see you in a little bit. Just watch the minute I end this. They'll put it up. Thank you so much again. We will see you soon.